Hey traders, Dennis Weber, the AutoPilot Trader. Are you looking for a way to consistently compound your trading capital? If you are, then today's session is specifically for you. Welcome to this special edition of Trade Your Way to Wealth and Financial Freedom. Yesterday I was unable to do the session live on the YouTube channel, but I found some setups that I didn't want to go through this weekend without sharing with you, because I want you to do well in your trading. Later in this session, I'll show you a specific trading candidate that could double by Christmas. So let's jump into today's session right now. Okay, here's just a reminder that all the materials we do present are for trading purposes. Traders should always paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. As we finished off the day yesterday, the market over the last week or so has been in a really nice rally. We basically are, pushing back up towards the trend line that I follow. My objective is to do 40% per year on the active trend trading system, utilizing the AutoPilot Trading service as a way of doing that. How are we doing right now? Well, basically, we're tracking pretty close to normal, not having a lot of whipsaw, so I'm very pleased with that. We finished the last week with, as you see, close to 24.55%, beating the S&P by 43%. Guess what happened? Well, we kept piling on profits this week. We're up to 28% on the active trend trading AutoPilot trading service, and we're beating the S&P by 45.49%. Okay, let's go ahead and get over to the charts and take a look at what the heck is going on with the indexes. And we're utilizing the S&P, the Qs representing the NASDAQ, the S&P, the spiders representing the S&P, and the IWM representing the Russell. Well, here's what's taking place, guys, just really quick and dirty. What we see here on Friday's candlestick, one of the things we were thinking about and concerned about is that price actions could get up into a run, but then we wanted to watch out for potential stalling. What does stalling mean? Well, just like an aircraft, is basically when the momentum runs out, the aircraft will have to, roll over and fall back down a little bit. How far will we potentially fall? Well, positives first. One, we have broken out above the downtrend line. That's good. We are setting up a higher high. That's good. Where might we get a pullback then to? The pullback may go back into the moving averages. The question we want to ask ourselves, though, is should we try to trade that pullback? There's a lot, you got to be really fast to trade a counter trend trade. Another thing people may wait for is just say, hey, I am in a position where I want to start looking for pullbacks and trade, in other words, trade the dip. If you missed it, I put over on YouTube a really good tutorial video last Thursday on trading the dip, what it looks like. And so you might want to go over and take a look at that and see if it'll help you out in figuring out how to trade the dip. That's what I like, trading the dip when it's the appropriate thing to do. With that said, what are we looking at? We're looking at the, I'm looking at the S&P pulling back into the moving averages here. Where are we slowing down at? Well, if you look to the left, there's a gap right here. There was a gap right here. And as you can see, price actions have gotten up into that gap. That is a level of resistance. When you have a gap down, that's resistance. And so it hit the gap and it's showing resistance. We do have a bearish reversal signal there. It is called a dark cloud. And so we'll look for that to potentially go into a pullback. What's going on this week that we want to be aware of? Well, one is the Fed meets this week and everybody's wondering, there's a 65% chance that the Fed will raise the rates by a full percentage point. That could be interesting to this market. Again, the market was just starting to climb back out. So the other thing we can take a look at, what else is going on? We've got earnings coming out from a lot of the larger stocks. Tesla earnings last week But we've got some earnings coming out on, I want to say, Google and a couple of the other old fang, or we should call them fangless stocks anymore, or toothless fangs. So anyway, but they still have enough power within them to drive the market a little bit. So what about the NASDAQ? NASDAQ, the Qs. So what's the Qs? Very, very similar. As you see, we broke out above the downtrend line, did that a couple of weeks ago, made a higher high. That's excellent. And where might this go? Pull back into the 820. One of the things I like to do when I have a situation like this where I have put in a potential high is just throw a Fibonacci on that real quick. From the high to the low, where might it pull back to? Well, we know the magic fib box is a 618 down to the 38% retracement in that little box right there. And isn't it interesting how that little box, and I'll just grab and draw that in for us, is right there engulfing the moving averages. I just leave that as close as I can get it. As you can see, it will basically envelope both of the moving averages. That's where I anticipate prices falling back down to. Again, it's one of those questions of, do you short or do you take a counter trend trade now, or just wait 2 or 3 days until probably Wednesday? Perhaps the market has already priced in the potential 1% increase in the Fed rate, and if it comes out to be a 0.75, that may give the market opportunity to rally on up. Note, TSI is approaching the overbought condition, and also looks like it wants to roll back over. Let's get rid of that real quick. And the other thing I always take a look at, and what I'm doing is I'm just taking out this drawing because we have something new to look at. And so what we want to be looking at is basically from here up through here. This is the new trend. And as long as that trend stays in effect, then the price action will probably continue to move up. This is the momentum trend. Just getting to the place on a weekly chart where TSI and market forecast has in fact turned up to the upside. The longer term market forecast, which is oftentimes indicative of going into a much longer trade and longer trend, is just about ready to cross up through 20 level. And if that happens, look for a continued push on up. We got to remember, the markets are down 24%. So even if they put on a rally back to past highs from the year, how far is it? That's about a 25% gain right now. So is that potential there? Sure. I think a more realistic potential would be just to draw in a Fibonacci here and look for about a 68% retracement of that, which will put you up to about the 337 level. So that's what we've got going on for the Qs. The Russell, similar situation, although the Russells had broken out above the downtrend line, which is excellent, has come back to the 50 and is holding at the same time. What is that right there? That is a bearish engulfing candlestick. And so a pullback down to the midsection, which would be about the 20-day moving average, would not be surprised, about the 175 level. There, as I said, there's multiple ways to trade this. If you are quick on the draw, you could trade it down to that level, trading either TNA or TZA. Those are the leveraged ETFs. I'm going to do a video in the very near future talking about trading options on the leveraged ETFs like TNA and TQQ. I've really been impressed with some, potential low-priced option opportunities that if you're just learning how to trade options, it would give you a great platform to start your learning process for options. If that's something that would potentially interest you, just leave a comment down in the comment section on the YouTube channel. I'd appreciate that. Or drop me an email. That would be great also. So that's what we've got with IWM. A couple of the things that we've been looking at also is how did we wind up, how did we trade last week? And so let's go ahead and jump through a couple of, and then we'll come back and take a look at our candidates for this week. Hey, just a reminder, there'll be a link down in the description. I really love our trader tools, and this is one of the trader tools we have is a convergence of clues scoring checklist to help you establish whether or not it is that the fundamentals of a stock are high enough for you to actually take a trade in it. We offer this to anybody who opts into our mailing list, and so again, opt in, and there'll be a link for how to get your trading tools. And so one of the other things that we take a look at is I love trading the leveraged ETFs. This is TQQ. And the AutoPilot Trading service, which is basically specializes in trading top-notch leveraged ETFs. We concentrate on 7 of them, and also top 5 growth stocks. What are we trying to capture? Just to give you a picture of this. This is going back to 2021 and 2022 in TQQ. We basically try to capture some of these gains, not necessarily all of them, but enough that at the end of the year, we've compounded our accounts by at least 100%. That's our target. Speaking of that, that brings us into what I'm looking at trading this week. Back over to the charts. Okay, one of the first stocks I want to take a look at going into this week is I like how BJ is setting itself up right here at the 8-day moving average. As you can see, we're looking for a pullback, probably back to retest the breakout at about the $67 level. Now, our AutoPilot Trading members, you were in a trade on this all the way down here at the 63.78 level, and we've already taken out some of our profits at 10%, and we've gone up, looking for the next one up at about 15% for some more profits. But I'm just looking, this is an excellent setup going into next week, and I'll be watching a pullback, like I said, back into this breakout area about $67. So that's one. Again, we have already been trading this. It's been profitable with the AutoPilot Trading service. Number 2 is I like this one's CSL. However, it does have our earnings coming up on the 27th, so I'm not going to really be touching on that. Another one that I'm looking at, okay, FTN. Also, our members got on this past week right here at the about the $58 level. We haven't taken off profits yet, but it is starting to climb back out, and it looks like if it breaks out here, we've got a good opportunity to run all the way up here to $69.70. Earnings coming up on 8.3. So I'm looking for, again, a pullback into the moving averages. As long as it holds above the 8, the 20, or this combo here of moving averages, that will basically give us an opportunity to jump on another trade on this. Trade that we really had a great time with this week is TQQ. We got in TQQ, and I'll blow this up a little bit. Highlighted TQQ last weekend and put out our pre-flight checklist to our members to say, hey, if it falls back to 2606, jump on board. It did that. We took out profits at 10%. We took out profits up here at 20%, had a trailing stop that was taken out on Friday. Also, we had an average gain of about 14% over a 3 or 4 day period. I love these leveraged ETFs. And as you saw, pattern that we have here, these patterns repeat themselves over and over and over again. And so that's one of the things our members do get what we call this is it, our AutoPilot Leverage ETF pre-flight checklist. And this is on the leverage ETFs. Got 7 of them, 3 indexes, and 4 sectors. And I describe every weekend exactly how I'm going to trade it. And if there's no trade, then I say, hey, I'm waiting for the setup. But as you can see, here's what the members received last weekend. TQQ, buy it at 2604. Profit target 1, profit target number 2, and a stop loss. And then the midweek course corrections where we actually issue and say, okay, if prices go up and hit PT1, we adjust our trailing stop. So really excellent stuff. So that's what we've got going with that. And I just like to remind you that, if you're struggling with, spending too much time trying to find great trades, these leverage ETFs are absolutely amazing. And we, as I said, specialize with them on the AutoPilot Trading service, and basically you can find it right there. After spending many years in Wall Street and after making and losing millions of dollars, I want to tell you this. It never was my thinking that made my big money for me. It always was my sitting. Got that? My sitting tight. That's Jesse Livermore said that. And so let's go ahead and, oh, I almost forgot something. Hold on. What about that potential trade that has an opportunity to double by Christmas? And that is LABD. Excellent. Starting to turn back up right here. The TSI has crossed back up. We have a bullish engulfing on Friday. And so our premium members, you will get a notice on this, on what we're going to be trading. But it looks very, very positive. Why do I say it could be up over 100% by Christmas? Go back to what it did earlier this year. This is the back in April. And this run here in April, how far did it go? The full extent of it, up over 200%. Now, does that happen every time? No, not necessarily. Of course it doesn't happen every time. There's a run right there earlier again in the year, 67%. Does that, and so what we look for is opportunities is set up so that we can get in the way of those big runs. And that's what we do with the AutoPilot Trading service. And so I like this one. If we ran, and now let's throw a Fibonacci on this real quick, where if it ran the same type of situation here to here, back down to here, that would mean that our target would be up here at $51.70. And dadgummit, that is definitely close to past levels of resistance where we gap down into that level. So about $50. So again, that $50 run would equate to, so we get in the middle of that and a $50 run, about 90%. 90%. That I am not promising that that's what's going to happen. However, I am saying that it has done it in the past several times, and this is looking like a really strong setup to the upside. We have a buy signal in place on LABD. If you want to know more about trading the leverage ETFs, just let me know. Check out. You can also go and just take a test flight for 3 months with the AutoPilot Trading service. So, hey, that's it for today, guys. Again, 2022 is a year to be patient, persistent, and consistent. Hey, I want to say aloha to Steve and Anil. Thanks for your support with what I had to take care of yesterday. So you get another chance to subscribe there, and also more trading tips in the video that'll pop up right there. If you're not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified when we do post new tutorial content. So have an absolute great rest of your weekend. And this special edition of Trade Your Way to Wealth and Financial Freedom is brought to you because I want to make sure you have an opportunity to grow your wealth going into next week and through the rest of 2022. Aloha. God bless everybody.